to Jump to Bros. I was doing a little bit of testing of my Sega Saturn 3D pad, you know, my favorite controller. Everybody loves the 3D pad, right?
Oh, yeah.
Best controller ever.
Oh, you want to put the lights on?
Hey, Google, turn on the game room lights. Thanks, Google. You're the best. Except sometimes whenever you think that I said, hey, Google, when I didn't.
Great.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
Of course not.
Yeah. It does that a lot when I'm watching a YouTube video and somebody says, hey, something, or okay, something. I don't know why the fuck I ended up with this fox. I was just messing around, didn't even pay attention to the fact that I ended up being this fox.
Are you some kind of furry?
Yeah, totally.
Hey, I got a question for you. Why is the furries, you know? Okay, first question.
Why are foxes
the furries?
I mean, why are furries foxes?
First question, why are furries, period? But second question, why is the fox the main thing? Like, it seems like 99% of furries are foxes.
Yeah.
There's so many animals.
Right. There really are. Why not be a furry elephant?
Well, I mean, elephants do have hair.
I guess they do.
They're mammals, but...
A furry turtle.
Well, then you wouldn't be a furry. You'd be... What is an amphibian? So the scalies are for lizards, but what about amphibians? Slimy?
Slimy? They're all a little slimy, I think. But
yeah, well. Anyways.
Is it really scalies? Is that
that's what they call them, yeah.
No way. I thought they were all just kind of lumped under the furry umbrella.
Well, they're under the furry umbrella, but scalies are a specific thing. I wonder if fish count as scalies as well, because they've got scales.
Yeah. I don't know.
But I don't know that many people...
I mean, if somebody's turned on by a lizard, they'll be turned on by a fish. I'm
spiritually a fish, okay? In my soul, in my heart of hearts, I'm a fish.
Oh, right. Spiritual. That's right. It's not sexual. I'm sorry. I don't know what I was thinking.
No, Jeremy, you got it backwards, okay? The sexual part of it comes from the fact that they're spiritually that creature, okay? That's where it comes from. It's not the other way around.
Right.
Anyways,
has nothing to do with kinks. That's not what this is.
But we've reached a point at which every time I see a fox in a game or anywhere or any artwork of a fox, like a humanoid fox, I'm like, that person's a furry.
Oh no, confirmed. Justin Bomer or whatever is a furry for even putting this in his game.
Yeah. I'm gonna assume that it's Stairfax temperatures is the reason for this.
Maybe, but wouldn't he just put fox in here? Like, why
No. I'm talking about for furries. I think the reason that furries are mostly into foxes probably because of Stairfax temperatures.
You mean from that girl?
Yeah, from Crystal, the girl fox from Stairfax temperatures. She's like a hot, girl fox, and I think that activated a lot of people.
Well, a lot of these furries were kids around the time.
Yeah. Now that game sucks, by the way. I don't know if you ever played Stairfax Temperatures. You
think that awakened something?
I think it did. I think it awakened something in a lot of people culturally. But anyways. Because, I don't know, did you ever hear of a furry in your life?
No.
This is a relatively new invention.
Yeah. I thought anime was the source, but maybe.
What animes have furries?
Well, there's lots of
not a lot
cartoons and shit that have anthropomorphic animals. I'm not trying to...
Are they animes? Like, how many animes are there with anthropomorphic animals?
But there are a lot of, there's Rouge the Bat.
Even like the Disney... Well, yeah, okay.
What about anything Sonic related?
Yeah, okay, yes. Okay,
Sonic is the target of so much
But you don't see any people running around in their hedgehog suits, though.
No.
So I'm just saying, like,
dude, I'm blowing it right now.
Oh, I see that. I can tell.
Do
you have a healing item?
No, I don't. I don't have anything. Oh, fuck. Did I get what the goal of this loop was? I don't think I did. I don't even have a key to go in that door. Maybe the goal of this loop is to get to the door. I just need to go find the key. Okay. Oh, never mind. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, that's inaccessible.
Yeah, okay, so...
You're going to want to go up and go to the left, I'm thinking.
I had not realized I didn't go in this door yet, so cool. All right.
So, anyways,
furries.
No, I've said all I need to say. I think it's funny that there's no hedgehogs running around.
Yeah,
you know, because you'd think that Sonic would be a big.
Tails is a fox.
That's a good point. I don't ever see any. Well, out and about.
Yeah.
You know, whenever you occasionally run across one of those furries in their fur outfit, you never see Tails.
It's usually
It's just some random, nondescript, non-legally binding fox.
Yeah. True. All right. Well,
Dude, it blows my mind that there are people who actually do that shit, like in public, who actually walk around in those suits. I've seen it in person, and I'm like,
never seen
this is not real. There's no way this is real.
We live in an area that this is not a common occurrence. I'm sure.
Oh shit! I did the same thing as last time.
Oh my God.
Look, I gotta get this
Bomberman.
I gotta get this. For some reason, this first go, whenever I take the controller in my hand, my brain just goes over to the square button. You know why it is? Because in most. Oh, are you trying to go somewhere?
It does this all the time.
I think the reason is because in most games that I play.
The Y button or the square button.
The square button is the slash button.
Okay, yes.
The hack and slash button.
This is not Mega Man. This is Kingdom Hearts. Think of Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, but see, Kingdom Hearts always gets me whenever I first start playing it. It totally throws me off that Kingdom Hearts. You know, it's funny. Kingdom Hearts is an interesting case because the X button is not the attack button. The X button is not the attack button.
It's the slash
It's
button.
the command menu select
right,
button.
Right.
And attack is what's selected all the time.
Because it's an RPG. It's a Final Fantasy style RPG.
So the reason that so the reason that X is the button is not because that's the button that you use to attack. It's because that's the button that you use to select something on the command menu.
That's true.
So
that's true. I have thought about that at times in the past, but it's not something that I consider when I think of the control scheme of Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah. Kingdom Hearts is weird because it is set up as if it's like just an RPG.
Yeah.
But it doesn't actually play like a normal RPG of any kind. So, you play it like you're just hacking and slashing around.
Kingdom Hearts 1 is so freaking janky and hard to play.
Yes, because they were trying to...
They were going for a thing.
Yes.
And they perfected it in Kingdom Hearts 2.
Right. Yes, they had an idea about how to do this.
Should I be easier on Kingdom Hearts 1? Should I give it another shot, Kay?
Maybe you should. I don't know.
Should I introduce the kids finally to Kingdom Hearts 1?
I think you should. Yes. Yeah. I do think you should. I think Kingdom Hearts 1 is frustrating, okay? It is frustrating, but it's a great game. Yes, it is the most not stupid of the games, and that's pretty great, you know?
Kingdom Hearts 2 might be a little stupid, but I think it is. I think it is a perfect game, though.
Kingdom Hearts 2 is stupid, okay? It's not peak stupid.
No, it's not peak stupid.
But it is stupid, for sure. Did I miss anything? I don't know if there was any... I wasn't really paying attention to walls.
The biggest sin that Kingdom Hearts 2 is guilty of.
Damn it. I cut too sharp. I cut a diagonal, okay? I cut it too sharp of a diagonal, okay? That's all.
The biggest sin that Kingdom Hearts 2 is guilty of is replacing Billy Zane as the voice of Ansem.
Well, okay, I wouldn't say that that's the biggest sin.
Oh, yeah.
But I would say
Kingdom Hearts 2, Ansem's voice sucks.
Yeah, sure. That's okay. Look, that's fine. Did they replace him, or did he just not want to come back?
I think he just didn't want to come back, but they shouldn't have replaced him. They should have just AI'd
He probably saw the script and was like, "This sucks. This game's stupid."
So what they should have done is just
Twilight
They
Town?
should have taken his voice samples from the first
Xehanort?
They should have taken his voice samples for the first game and constructed his voice lines just from lines from the first game.
What's a Xemnas? Damn it! I was gonna try to pick it up, but I realized I didn't have enough time. Anyways.
No, look, I don't hate that.
What's Twilight Town?
I don't hate the organization.
Who are the nobodies?
13.
What does this mean? Why is a nobody a heart? Wait. Why is a heartless
a heart?
a heart, but a nobody is a
Body
without a heart?
A heartless body, you might say.
I can imagine some questions were being asked whenever the script was presented.
Yeah.
This game's retarded.
I love Kingdom Hearts 2. It's my favorite. It's my favorite one.
I fucking hate Twilight Town. That whole opening,
sequence.
I have tried to play Kingdom Hearts 2 multiple times in the past couple of years.
Okay,
and each time I fail to get through Twilight Town.
It's not a perfect game.
I quit playing the game before I get through Twilight Town.
I will
it's
take
such
it
a
back.
pain in the ass.
I agree with you 100%. It's not a perfect game because of Twilight Town.
It wastes so much fucking time in the beginning of the game that you can't skip.
Yeah, it begins to be a perfect game when you pick up with Sora.
Sure.
Then it's a perfect game.
Nothing's got...
It's so good. The Mulan segment, the Beauty and the Beast segment, like, it's so good.
Here's how bad the Twilight Town kills that game for me. The fact that you can't skip any of it.
Yeah.
See, if you could skip the cutscenes and stuff, that would be fine.
Yeah.
But the fact that you can't skip anything makes replaying that game just a fucking nightmare.
You're right.
I have played through Kingdom Hearts 1 3 times, okay? Which is not a ton. You know, I'm not like a fanatic for Kingdom Hearts, okay? I enjoy the game. I played through it 3 times in my entire lifetime. Twice whenever I was pretty young, back whenever it first came out and we had it on the PS2 originally. And then I played through it again one more time whenever I was like 22 or something. But Kingdom Hearts 2 I've never played through a second time. I've only played it the one time that I beat it, and that's it.
I played through it several times.
I've started it several times, but just never got into the actual story ever.
I've played through it several times. I know where you're coming from. It's the grinding for money to go to the beach. Mm-hmm. That's what you're talking about.
Yes.
It's not the whole Twilight Town segment minus the grinding for money to go to the beach is like an hour. The grinding for money to go to the beach is another 2 hours.
Mm-hmm. I don't know that I want the bow.
I don't think you want the bow. You might grab bombs, though.
Yeah, but bombs are free. You can just get them in place. They're only $20.
Yeah.
So I'll go ahead and buy some bombs. I'm probably going to drop some of them on the ground.
That's what I was going to say. You're going to waste a good portion of them anyway.
I could really use some healing items. You know, that would be nice. Or a heart, maybe. 1 or 2, maybe.
Yeah. So,
anyways, so but aside from the getting through Twilight Town, what's the? I mean, look, I've presented my argument. Twilight Town sucks.
Yeah. That's it. It sucks. I agree. Outside of that, though, love the game.
I remember loving the game. It's just I haven't played it in so long because
the Beauty and the Beast segment is one of like the best. Beauty and the Beast is my favorite classic Disney movie.
Yes, I'm aware.
You know, I love it. But that segment is so good because
but Gaston is the good guy in that.
Gaston
movie,
is not in Kingdom Hearts 2.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, just a side note on Beauty and the Beast. Gaston is actually not a villain. He's actually the good guy.
Right. He is a pretentious prick.
Now,
but he's
with that being said,
he's a masculine man who wants to protect his woman. So,
based on the information Gaston has about what's going on, Gaston is totally in the right. Okay, now he might be an a-hole.
Right.
He might be a brute. He might be an a-hole. He might be a brute. But based on the information he has, Gaston is in the right.
Well, I don't know. Let me ask you a question. Mm-hmm. He has information that he has assumed for himself, but he also has information that he's being told by the girl that he's claiming to protect. So, like, what do you like? The information he's going out to kill the beast on what information?
That he's a beast.
Yeah, but he's been there all that time.
Yeah, but he's a beast. Yeah, but people didn't, you know, he hadn't kidnapped a girl from the village yet.
Well, he kidnapped a guy. The girl voluntarily kidnapped herself. and then fell in love with him. So.
Right. Listen, the scenario is that as far as they know, the Beast is holding a girl from the village hostage.
Right. But he wasn't, though. She went back to the village and told everybody about what was going on, and Gaston was like, "We gotta go kill this guy."
Yes, because
she was
he's a
safe
beast.
back in the village and telling them that she's fine and he's fine and everything's
Yeah, but it could have easily been extortion of some sort. The
Yeah.
Beast might have had some other leverage over her. You don't know.
Yeah.
The whole point is that you don't trust this beast that lives over there. You're like, whoa, what the fuck's going on with this beast that lives in that castle over there?
But you might trust.
Hey, how long was the beast
the girl
there?
that's telling you, "Hey, it's fine, everything's fine"?
No, you don't know.
How long was the beast
you
there?
You say to yourself after this girl says that, wow, this girl's in a fucked up relationship with a literal beast. Okay?
But he's a human, though.
We need to go kill that beast because he's taken the soul of this girl.
No,
how long was the beast there cursed
10
before?
years.
10 years.
He
okay.
was 11 when he was cursed, and he was 21.
So he is. So everybody in town, they're aware of the beast beforehand.
Yeah, he was just a prince, you know. He was your run-of-the-mill prince back then.
It's been a long time since I watched the movie, so
yeah.
I'm just saying, like.
Well, the real fucked up thing about
how many
it is,
princes do you have kicking around town typically?
Just one usually.
Well, I'm just saying, you know, it seems like
well, everybody would have been aware of him as the prince.
Right.
Well, there's a lot of fucked up shit in that movie, but one, everybody would have been aware of him as the prince, therefore would have known that the beast is that prince.
Right.
And two, the witch, or not witch, she wasn't a witch, she was a like an enchantress, like a beautiful enchantress that was dressed as an old hag who cursed him when he was 11 years old. He was Kyrie's age.
Right.
Like, a little harsh, don't you think?
It is, but, you know, that just goes with the old... that's just one of them old school style fairy tale, man. It's like, that's to tell your 11-year-old, hey, you better not fuck up or some enchantress might show up and turn you into a beast. And then some girl will fall in love with you, and then you become your girlfriend, and then she'll true love's kiss you, and then you'll turn back to normal.
Then your girlfriend's boyfriend will come to
really
try to kill you.
It's really not that bad of a deal, to be honest with you.
Listen, I will say that Gaston, not totally in the wrong, but also had it coming when he fell off of the castle.
Sure, I'm just saying that Gaston... Just the character in the scenario, Gaston, you know, in his scenario, he's not unreasonable. He's not an unreasonable.
Right.
He's not behaving unreasonably in that scenario. You could easily imagine how any reasonable, rational person would look at that situation of what's going on and go, we need to do something about this.
I get you. I don't disagree that he was acting rationally.
Whereas Clayton in Tarzan,
what a dick.
He needed to die. Fuck Clayton.
Yeah. What was he doing? It's been so long since he's seen Tarzan. He
wanted to hunt the gorillas.
That's right. He was hunting the apes. Okay.
Yes. And Tarzan's like, these are my family.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Giga Chad Tarzan doesn't even want to kill Clayton. He's like really upset about the fact that Clayton is killing himself inadvertently. He's like trying to stop him.
Yeah.
Man, it's been a long time since I've seen Tarzan, but
since I was a kid,
do recall that the way Clayton dies is brutal.
Yeah.
And also,
isn't he riding on a giant chameleon? And
no. I don't think that's how it happens.
You don't remember that?
No.
That's in Kingdom Hearts.
I don't think that's how it happens in the movie.
No, I know. I know. In Kingdom Hearts, you fight him on a giant chameleon.
Is that what happens in Kingdom Hearts? I can't remember.
There's a giant heartless chameleon.
Why is it a chameleon?
I don't know. But it is. And it disappears, and he's like riding around. He disappears, I think, while he's on the chameleon.
Okay.
It's nuts. That's when I realized Kingdom Hearts was dumb.
That was when you realized it?
Well, I mean, that's the first boss battle in the game, I'm pretty sure.
What? No, it's not. What
you
kind
go
of
to Tarzan
insane
first?
What kind of insane crazy person would go to Tarzan World before going to Alice in Wonderland World?
I mean, you can choose.
You gotta
between
go
the two
to
of
Alice.
them.
Oh, I know, but Alice in Wonderland World is the one you want to go to, because if you go to Tarzan World first, you don't get. What is it? There's an ability you get if you go to Alice in Wonderland that makes Tarzan way less of a pain in the ass.
Oh, really? I don't remember.
I think it might be the dodge roll. I don't think you have the dodge roll in
maybe
Tarzan,
so.
and that makes the boss battle.
Yeah.
Something about that makes, if you go to Tarzan first, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
If you go to Alice in Wonderland first, then it's fine.
Right.
I don't remember the exact details. I just know that's a thing.
It's been a while since I've played Kingdom Hearts 1.
And so I've always gone to Alice in Wonderland first. Even the first time I played the game, I went to Alice in Wonderland first. I don't know why, but that's always the order that I've played it in.
Yeah. So Caleb, last week I listened to some Sitch and Adam because I was curious about something. I don't remember what now, the reason why I looked up a Sitch and Adam, but I did. And now it's in my recommended, and I've listened to like several of their streams.
Do you like them?
Yeah, I do. I love them. But I realized that I've heard Sitch and Adam before. This isn't the first time.
Okay.
Because, I mean, remember, I was asking you about him and if he was the big mouth guy. You know, so I remember having seen and
You've probably seen
before.
a PSA Sitch video.
Maybe so.
Because he used to make videos. He doesn't anymore.
Right.
Famously, he used to make videos and doesn't anymore because now he's a lazy streamer who
What
just
about
streams.
Adam? What does he do?
Adam,
I don't know where the origin of these two guys. I just know
Adam made videos as well, but he was never a very big channel. Adam was a fairly small channel.
Yeah.
Adam was doing political streaming stuff like way back in the day, like in 2018, like when streaming first came to YouTube. I think Adam was streaming like right whenever it first came to YouTube as an option.
So I get the appeal of Sitch and Adam. I do get it. This sounds like I'm going to follow this up with a negative. I'm not. I get the appeal.
But they're great, and I like them.
No. The appeal to me, and probably to you too, is you feel like you're getting objective news. You're like objective, like opinions and stuff.
Yes.
Like they're like it's not just blatant. There's no real bias. Like they have their own opinions. They have their own biases, of course, but it's not like slanted.
Their objective is not to present you with biased information.
And
their objective is to present you with objective information.
I get the appeal of Sitch and Adam and why they're criminally underrated.
Yes.
I mean, like, you were telling me this the other day about how small their viewership is, and, like, I thought, you know, that was surprising then because of just the praise that you've heaped on them over the years, but man, like, after listening to them, realizing, like, what a service they're doing for the world, that's it's criminal. They've got Anna Kasparian backing them and stuff. Like, why can they not get a bigger following than this?
Well, they've actually talked about it a lot on the stream. Their theory on why their audience doesn't grow is that most people want to hear the biased thing that.
Yeah, it's
most people want to hear the cheerleading for their own side, and they don't really.
That's where you fall into like Benny Johnson's and stuff like that, which is how I was gonna start the stream, and then we got off on talking about Kingdom Hearts and shit, or furries. We got off on talking about furries, actually.
Right. Then Sonic, then Kingdom Hearts, then how did we get to Kingdom Hearts? I don't remember.
The X button.
Oh yes, right. Naturally. Okay, so anyways, Benny Johnson. We were talking about how you're no longer BFFs with Benny Johnson.
Yeah. I'm breaking up with Benny Johnson. And here's the thing, you know, and we talked about it before, the quartering.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of, and I've always known this to an extent about Benny Johnson. He is a complete partisan shill.
Yeah.
Like, completely in the tank for Republicans and for Donald Trump and whatever. And listen, I love Donald Trump. I love me some Donald Trump. But when he makes a bad decision, I'm not going to heap it on as if it was a good decision, you know? Like, I'm going to say, well, that was dumb, or that's a bad look, or that's, you know, whatever. Right. And the whole Matt Gaetz thing, he just went on for an entire week about how great of a pick this was and how he's a bulldog and he's going to take apart the establishment, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, that may be true about Matt Gaetz. I don't doubt that it is true, but it's bad. It's bad to have him as the Attorney General.
Right.
I don't like it. I'm not a fan of the optics of this and how it looks. And what got me is today, I've already been feeling this way, but today just set it over the edge to the point where I don't think I can listen to him anymore. Mm-hmm. And that is I was listening to yesterday's broadcast. He has not live streamed today, which is really telling to me. Uh-huh. All day yesterday, before Gaetz announced the dropout, mm-hmm. he was talking about Matt Gaetz, again, just in a totally positive light. I haven't heard a word about the scandal, right? Uh-huh. But he's talking about Matt Gaetz in the context of revealing the Diddy tapes and the Epstein list, and I was like, how completely out of touch are you? Like, how complete? He is one of those types of guys. Right. Like, he is an Epstein type. He is a Diddy tape guy. Right. Like, so what if he reveals that stuff? Like, that is the most what is it called? Tone deaf. Most tone deaf praise you can heap on somebody like Matt Gaetz, to say that he's gonna put all these Diddy tapes and Epstein list on blast. He literally did all the things those people are accused of. Are you fucking kidding me?
That's like the equivalent of saying, we need to find the world's biggest pedophile to be the guy who's going to... Because he's going to be the one who uncovers all the pedophiles. Because he knows all of them.
What the fuck?
It's like, we're going to elect the pedophile to be the AG because he knows where all the pedophiles are. Because he sells them all of the...
And this is not about Trump. This is not about Gaetz.
Listen, I'm not alleging that Gaetz is a pedophile, by the way. It's just an example.
If he slept with an underage girl... I don't know what his age was at the time, though. But
so I've encountered some information about this that I think is credible, which does cast it in a slightly different light than what is being said about Matt Gaetz. But it doesn't change my assessment of Matt Gaetz, because I still think he's a scumbag regardless, because the whole scenario is
he was
predicated...
at sex parties regardless.
Yeah, the whole scenario is predicated on him being at these sex parties, right? But basically, the 17-year-old he's alleged to have slept with was a woman who was in a relationship with the guy who was organizing these sex parties. Uh-huh. And the guy who was organizing these sex parties was like a high-ranking official in like a particular county of Florida. Uh-huh. Where he had the ability, he had access to the he controlled parts of the DMV. That was his thing, and he had created fake IDs, like official real driver's licenses, but fake IDs with fake ages, showing them as adults. Gotcha. And so it's possible. It is possible that Gaetz didn't know that this was a minor that he was sleeping with, because this guy that was putting on these sex parties on these yachts and stuff, was in a relationship with this minor that he created official real Florida driver's licenses that were fake IDs. So they were the realest fake IDs you can imagine. Like, you wouldn't be able to spot them because they're real IDs that just have fake dates on them. Okay. So it is entirely possible that Gaetz had no idea that she was a minor, but that doesn't change the fact that the entire scenario is completely avoidable if you're not a scumbag. Right.
Exactly. And I mean,
and that's probably why the DOJ never pressed. That's probably why the DOJ never pressed charges, because once they knew that they were official Florida IDs for this girl that showed her as an adult, they were like, "There's no what can we is a jury gonna look at this fact and say, yeah, he should go to jail?" Right. Probably not. So they just dropped the charges.
Yeah. No, I mean, yes, it's a scummy place to be, a scummy
I
thing
don't
to
want
do.
my conservative Republican politicians to be going to sex parties on yachts, okay?
Right.
I just don't think it's a good moral character for my people to be doing.
Okay, so agreed. Now, do you think, based on that information, that Gates stepping down was entirely magnanimous, like he claimed that it was, where he said, hey,
no,
you know what, I don't want to be a distraction for Trump, I'm just going to step away?
Well, I don't know.
Because that's the claim, and that's the claim that Trump has accepted, too. He said, thank you, Matt Gaetz, for wanting to clear the air here.
I don't know, because the thing is that the House ethics report would probably have come out if he was the AG pick, because during the vetting process for AG, they probably would have requested the House ethics report, which would have prevented him from being able to avoid having that released, like stepping down from his House position.
Right.
Did that? The House can't release that ethics report if he's not a member of the House anymore.
Yeah.
So a lot of people thought that him stepping down from his position there was a tactic to make sure that that ethics report never got released.
Yeah.
So, look, the fact is that the DOJ had all the information that you would need to have gone after him for the sex trafficking or whatever charges. Right. The worst charges you could have put on him, they cleared him of those charges because they realized that the scenario he was in would have been one that he wouldn't have known, right?
Right.
And as scummy as it is, it's not illegal to go and have a sex party on a yacht.
True. I mean, that's true.
So it's not for me.
Right.
It's not something that I expect my, the people that represent me to be doing. But hey, it's not illegal. So.
Right.
But if they do that, but regardless, the House ethics report is. Even if there's no legal wrongdoing, that is going to look real bad. Probably hurt Gaetz, because all the information that's going to come in that House ethics report is going to look really bad.
Yeah.
And since it's not a criminal investigation, they can basically put whatever the fuck they want in the House ethics report.
Right.
They can put all of the worst claims against him, they can put in that ethics report and be like, here it is, here's the official report, this is what he did. Even if it's never adjudicated in court. Right. So he probably doesn't want that coming out. And he probably realized that if he goes in for the AG position and the Senate tries to confirm him, that information is going to come out even though he's not in the House anymore.
Yeah.
Whereas if he goes and does something that doesn't require Senate confirmation, he can probably skate for the rest of his life with that report never coming out.
Right.
And I think part of it really does have to do with his chances at continuing to have a career in politics where that report exists as an official thing from the United States, House of Representatives that says he slept with a minor and, is a pedophile.
Somebody mentioned today that, I don't remember who it was, but I heard today that he had stepped away. He had stepped away from this Congress, but hadn't given up what he the 119th Congress.
I did hear that. Yes, I did hear that he won re-election.
But he can't go back without that ethics report being revealed. So he can't go back.
The possible scenario where he could go back is that if the new Congress, because we did pick up some seats, right?
Right.
So we have more seats now than we did last time. It's possible that the new Congress might decline to continue the ethics investigation. But I don't know. That seems like a gamble to me.
Yeah, it really does. But so if he, what do we do with his seat?
If he doesn't fill his seat, I think that the Florida governor appoints somebody.
Yeah.
So DeSantis would appoint somebody, put him in there.
Yeah.
But I don't know how it works in Florida. It's different from state to state. Each state has kind of different rules on how they do replacements.
Yeah.
Some states, the governor can just replace the person for the remainder of that term. Some states, you can have the governor appoint somebody temporarily, but they have to do a special election to actually permanently fill a seat.
Yeah.
It just depends on the state law.
I think it is that way because I think when he first got appointed to AG, they were talking about putting Lara Trump in his spot.
As a temporary thing or as
Yeah.
a permanent thing?
I don't know for sure.
Yeah, it just depends from state to state. Usually, some states, it can be just an appointment for the remainder of the term.
Yeah.
Some states, it's a temporary thing for like 90 days or whatever, and they have to have like a runoff election or something.
Yeah, that makes sense. That would make the most sense. Have the people vote.
Yeah.
Now, would that be a guarantee? Would that be just like a Republican election, or would that include?
It would include a Democrat.
Damn. I mean, it was a Republican-held seat.
Yeah, but if that person's not in there anymore, the people get to vote again.
Wow. What a way to shake up the balance of power.
Well, I mean, it depends on...
You pull somebody from the Republican-held Congress to be in your cabinet, and then you lose the balance of power because you did that. Like that
well,
kind of
I think a lot of the decision making that goes into cabinet picks and stuff is dependent on how safe is the seat that we're replacing. Because
I mean, it is Florida.
If it's an unsafe seat, then you don't nominate that person.
So
just don't do it.
So Matt Gaetz, who is the scumbag embroiled in scandal, let's forget about the fact that he was nominated for AG and talk about the fact that he was just re-elected to the Congress, even with this ethics shit going on around him.
Well, obviously, do you not want that glove?
Did I not? Oh shit! I didn't realize I didn't grab it. Ah, God, what do I want to draw?
Drop that shield. You don't need that shield.
Right. Yeah. How about the coat? We don't need that either. Sword. Yeah, sword. Sweet. There's no attack at all.
Dang.
Let's see. I guess it's got.
What rod
no,
is
you know
that?
what?
Is
That's
that
the fire rod. I'm gonna
okay.
drop that. I think I did buy it, so that's a waste of money. But whatever.
Well, maybe you'll take a lot of damage and need to drink those sodas.
Maybe
here
so.
Real quick. Or maybe you could random encounter a bag.
Yeah.
You don't know. It could happen.
So what else happened in news? We can go back to Matt Gaetz, but what else happened in news this week? I kind of checked out for a few days because I was getting burned out, honestly.
Yeah.
So I checked out for a few days. But anything interesting happening?
Well, I mean, maybe in Ukraine, apparently Putin launched some ballistic missiles, which is kind of, people see that as a big acceleration or a big escalation of the conflict.
That's crazy because wasn't he talking about discussing peace?
Yeah, but the Biden administration authorized Ukraine to use some of their American-provided long-range missiles to attack targets inside of Russia, which they haven't been allowed to do so far.
Oh.
Since we gave them, and so they attacked.
What is his angle with this, Biden? After they have started to talk peace, now he's authorizing the use of missiles.
It's probably honestly, I don't. A lot of conservatives a lot of the online right people have been pissing and shitting and crying about this. I honestly don't think it's that big of a deal. I think that the Biden administration actually potentially is doing this to help set up Trump for peace talks. I know it sounds crazy, but I think
that does sound crazy.
I think the Biden administration actually is interested in a good outcome coming from the Russia. Because here's the deal. This is a war that started under the Biden administration. So if this war gets resolved, if this war gets resolved, even though it's going to be under the Trump administration when it happens, Biden probably doesn't want his legacy to have been the guy who oversaw a horrible war that ended in like a total surrender of the guys we were backing, right?
Yeah.
So there's a theory running around out there that the Biden administration authorized the long-range missiles so that Ukraine would be in a better bargaining position when Trump forces both parties to the table, because the speculation at this point is that Trump is going to basically say, listen, we're done with this, we're going to work out terms, so you guys need to bring terms you're willing to deal with, and we're going to get this done. So the better term...
This sucks.
Yeah, you got a bad pattern going here. The better the terms are for Ukraine, the better the peace, agreement is going to be, right?
Yeah.
And if Ukraine has the extra leverage of saying, well, we're authorized by the U.S. government to use these missiles. So they haven't
used missiles. They've just been authorized to use them.
No, they have. They struck some targets inside of Russia.
Okay.
And so I think that the thinking is to say, look, we're going to negotiate for peace, and if you don't negotiate for peace, if Russia doesn't come to the table with an actually decent decent deal, right?
Yeah.
If Russia's not willing to agree to something that's actually a decent deal for Ukraine, then Ukraine is authorized to strike whatever they want, and they've got long-range missiles that can hit Moscow from where they are. So
let me ask you: do you think that the Biden administration is working with Trump on these plans, or do you think that this is just an out of left field?
It's possible that this is. It's possible that this is just a Biden, well, obviously Joe Biden is not making decisions, right?
No, that's why I say the Biden administration.
But it's possible that actors inside the Biden administration are trying to tee up the situation for a better negotiating position.
Yeah. Well, that would be really nice if,
because
if somebody is out there going, okay, we do have Trump, we have to deal with that, so let's make the best of it.
Well, it's like this. If you know that the guy who's coming in is going to force the two parties to come to a peace agreement, whether our ally Ukraine is happy with it or not, Trump is going to make it have to happen. It's going to have to happen, right? So they're not going to be able to weasel out of it. Trump is going to give Ukraine an ultimatum that says, if you don't come to the table with a reasonable, if you're not willing to accept a reasonable offer from Russia, we're done supplying you weapons. Yeah. Good luck. Which, if that's the situation that you're walking into, that you're handing off to the next administration, this is coming,
right?
Then you might be interested, if you care at all about this conflict, if you care at all about the resolution of this conflict, which I believe that there are people in the Biden administration who have their hearts in the right place.
They probably care about legacy too. Obviously, this
there
is a train wreck of an administration.
There is definitely a there is salt to mine, right, from the idea that you can run around and say Trump totally fucked over our ally Ukraine and destroyed them and gave Putin whatever he wanted, and and obviously they're gonna your Rachel Maddows and whatever are gonna run with that no matter what. But if you do genuinely care about the conflict and about the people of Ukraine, and you're working in the State Department or whatever with Biden in the Biden administration, then it might be in your best interest to try to tee up negotiations with the best leverage possible before Trump gets in there, because negotiations are going to happen.
Right.
And you're not going to be there. You're not going to be involved in them.
Right.
It's over for you. So there might be people with their hearts in the right place who really are trying to set up the negotiations as well as possible before Trump takes over.
Yeah.
Or it could be something that is actually being done jointly with the Trump administration. You don't know. There is a period.
Pretty sick, honestly. I think it would be. I think it would be pretty awesome if the last days of the Biden administration were actually used to set up the Trump administration for success.
Well, there is a transition process that does happen between presidents that should be a collaborative process where both administrations try to ease into.
Yeah, that's where we really burned bridges last time, I'm just saying, it makes me cringe a bit when I see the Biden administration being so, or somewhat helpful on this transition,
right.
Because.
What did you get?
Oh, enemies are tougher, no big deal.
Uh-oh.
Because it was such a rough time in 2020.
Yeah. Look, I'm not proud of 2020.
No.
It wasn't my thing, really.
Yeah.
Think what you will about how that election went. The fact of the matter is that ultimately, when the rubber meets the road, the president has to hand over power.
Now, I will say that the people involved in January 6th and what happened that day, not as big of a deal as they're making it out to be.
No,
but
it's nothing.
And people who are in prison for 4 years for their actions on that day that were not violent or whatever also need to be let out. But all of that being said, yeah, it was bad. It was a bad, even though I do have my doubts about whether that election was free and fair. So
what are you gonna get, Jeremy?
I want the gym bag just for inventory space, but I've got to get the good stuff.
Well, maybe you'll run across some rupees in this last room.
right here, you think?
Yeah, maybe there's some rupees.
Think you'll find 70 rupees.
Maybe there's a wall you can walk through.
All right, you know what? I haven't fully, thoroughly explored this whole place, so I'm gonna go do that real quick. Anyway. Oh, okay.
You're not even near that.
No, I'm just trying to cut these vines.
I guess it doesn't matter because...
No, it doesn't. It's just funny that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what do you think about Morning Joke going to suck up at Mar-a-Lago?
Well, I didn't know this because I wasn't paying attention back in 2016. I was not paying attention to politics at all back then because I thought Donald Trump was stupid. I thought he was an embarrassment, so I didn't pay attention to politics because I didn't know what was going on,
Yeah.
But I was seeing some stuff, with this whole Morning Joe thing. This whole Joe Scarborough business, going to visit Trump at Mar-a-Lago. It was being recounted on various different places I get my information from that in 2016, apparently Trump was on Morning Joe like several times.
Really?
And they talked to him about the campaign, and apparently Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski and Trump were like
buddy
kind of buddies, and they were kind of like encouraging him for the presidency.
What the hell happened?
And then they just, as soon as he actually won, because I don't think they thought he was going to win.
Yeah.
I think that Joe Scarborough.
I mean, everybody loved Trump before he won. Like, the ladies of The View loved Trump before he won. Like,
I would say what probably happened there is that they thought, they probably have known Trump. Because, everybody knows Trump. Yeah. If you're in show business of any kind, you probably know Trump on some level, right? Because he's everywhere in show business, right?
Yeah.
And so they probably knew him and had like an okay relationship with him prior to the election, and they probably thought it was a funny meme, Oh, it's well, look, we're gonna have Trump on, we're gonna pump him up, and then he's gonna get the nomination, and then the Democrat's gonna win, right? Hillary will win, but we'll have had some fun, interviewing Trump and having him on our show and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's a big, it's all just a big haha meme, right?
Yeah.
But that does imply that they had some sort of relationship with Trump, a friendly relationship with Trump, right? Yeah. But you would have no idea if you only watched Joe Scarborough for the past 8 years.
Right, but listen, think about the sequence of events here. 3 weeks ago, Joe Scarborough
Jarborough
is saying, "Who raised these people? Who are? These are not like any people that I grew up with on my street. Like that. This just snotty, snooty." I'm better than you and all of and
well, Joe Scarborough, just Trump. So you know, there were no people on my street because my street was a gravel road, and there was an old lady that lived down the road, and then there was a meth trailer where they cooked meth. Okay, so that I didn't grow up with anybody on my street, you know, like you did. You know. Anyway, well, Joe Scarborough is out of touch.
He's very, very out of touch. But the thing is, like, I don't have enough money for that.
A lot of Americans grew up who voted for Trump. A lot of Americans who voted for Trump grew up the same way you and I did.
Lower middle class.
On a dirt road somewhere in the middle of nowhere.
Yes. So anyway,
and you know what? I don't begrudge growing up on a dirt road in the middle of nowhere at all. I loved riding my bike down to KJ's Oasis. Okay, it was awesome.
All right, well, we can get back to the plight of the lower middle class Republican here in just a minute, but I just want to go back to the timeline here of Joe and Mika, going from the total utter disgust at Trump supporters, and disgust at Trump himself and anybody he surrounds himself. I'm talking about like sickening, disgust, vomitous disgust at us for being Trump supporters. To now sucking up to Trump, like the day 2 days after the election, they're going, we misjudged some stuff, and then a week after election, they're at Mar-a-Lago.
You don't want that coupon?
I don't have room for it. I gotta go get the bag.
But that coupon's going to make your bag so much cheaper.
Well, is it the most expensive thing I'm going to buy? I don't
Probably
think it
not.
is. $115? I doubt that's the most expensive thing I'm about to buy.
Yeah, well,
I mean, if he had any shred of credibility left, it's gone now.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't have any shred of credibility left, but if he did before now, it's gone now.
Well, here's my completely uninformed theory, okay? I think that MSNBC is scrambling, yes. I think MSNBC is in panic mode because their ratings. So I saw some information about ratings, MSNBC's ratings are always terrible.
They've been in the tank for a long time. This is nothing new.
But if you look at the ratings post-election, they fell off a fucking cliff, dude. They as bad as their ratings already are.
David Pac-Man's.
Yes, David Pac-Man. He lost 5,000 subscribers from his 1.5 million subscriber channel.
Oh, I saw the freak out too. It was like he was like, even paid subscribers, and like, it's like, dude, chill the fuck out.
Right. Well, but anyway, so I think that MSNBC, I think they thought they had a market for being the crazy left-wing people, and I think Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski were just playing into what they thought was their market. And I think that they're realizing that this election is causing a lot of people to kind of wake up and realize, you know what? Maybe there isn't a market for this. Maybe
right?
Maybe we're wrong about this.
You're on the fringe, guys. You're on the fringe. Trump supporters are not the fringe. They're the majority now. You're on the fringe.
So the entire first Trump term, the whole thing that fueled MSNBC, their viewership and everything, was constant, endless TDS, right? Yeah. And so their viewership were the TDS people.
Right.
Well, I think what happened this election is people had 4 years of the Biden administration kind of just being awful, right? And the whole situation just kept getting worse and worse under the Biden administration for everybody's daily lives. And I think that the average person doesn't have the TDS that they had.
It's funny, like...
And I think that MSNBC is responding to that. I think they're realizing that can't be their market anymore because it's waning.
Yeah.
That's a waning sentiment amongst the public, is this TDS, about Trump.
Yeah.
And if that's a waning thing, then you can't build your entire market on that, because those people, you're losing those people constantly. As time goes on, people are going, you know what? That Donald Trump guy, they say a lot of bad stuff about him, but I don't know. I think he might be pretty good for the country.
Right. So here's the the thing that, and it was so heartwarming to me because I had a customer.
Did you pick up a plant and throw it?
I did. You could
I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah.
What?
So it was this heartwarming moment the other day. I had a customer, elderly black man, and I was just, I try not to talk politics, especially in the presence of elderly black men, because historically, you know how they lean. And
well,
I just,
in my experience, it can go one of two ways. You can go into the anti-Semitism, extreme right-wing conspiracy direction, or it can go in the complete opposite direction. It's usually not somewhere in the kind of happy, reasonable middle.
Well, he was like, man, I really would like to buy what you're selling. And you know what? I mean, there's a real possibility that next year, after Trump gets in office, I might be able to afford it. And I was like, that's awesome. Cool, man. Yeah. I mean, I hope it does happen and you call me back. But, it's just, I think that I can just kind of feel, it feels like a weight lifted off of my shoulders. It feels like, so wokeism is dead.
No, it's not.
Well, it's
dying.
It's dying. TDS is not a thing that you have to worry about anymore.
No. You know what I think has happened? It's not that everybody just likes Trump now.
Yeah.
A lot of people have shifted from being negative or indifferent towards Trump to liking him.
Yeah.
But I think what's more important is
people
that
aren't
people
threatened by Trump anymore.
I think that it's been so overhyped that the threat of Trump has been so overhyped that now no one buys it anymore.
Right.
So you don't have people with most of the people who would have had extreme feelings about Trump back in 2016, back in 2020, they're burned out. Okay, they don't have the fury
right
that they had back then, and I think that people just are like, you know what? They've been fear-mongering about Trump all this time, and I just don't believe it anymore. I think that's where most people are.
Yeah.
So I just don't buy it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good place to be. Yeah. It's good that most people are not, like, losing their minds anymore.
I was just going to say, though, like, going, like, the thing I said about wokeism TDS, like, I feel like we're returning to, like, a sense of normalcy, and that people can just go back to getting along again.
I think that's a possibility, and I think that the Joe Scarborough Mika Brzezinski thing with Trump and Mar-a-Lago, I think that this is amazing.
This
10
is the
rupees,
most garbage.
20 rupees.
What the fuck, dude?
Ah, nice.
I think I got like 100 rupees in that room.
No, there was one with 70.
Was
the first chest you opened was 70, but then it was 10.
God damn
25.
That is not what I need right now. Well, actually, I have a small bag, just level 2 bag. I would like to have a bigger bag by now, but all right. Well, anyway, so the Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski thing.
I think what that's signaling, I think they're signaling to their audience that, hey, we know you guys aren't freaked out by Trump anymore like you were before. And hey, guess what? We aren't either.
Yeah.
I think that's what's happening here. I think it's just signaling. I think the whole point of this was to signal to the audience that we're all on the same page here. None of us are freaking out about Trump anymore. But we don't like him. He's not gonna do the things we want him to do. Okay, but we're not scared of him. Okay, we're just gonna have the next 4 years are just gonna suck because they're not gonna be the Democrat things we want to do. And I think that's what's happening. I think that's what they're trying to. I think that's what they're signaling. They're trying to let everybody know that MSNBC is not going to be the insane thing that it was before. It's now going to be. It's going to be on the same page as you. So keep watching us, please. Don't run away. Please watch us, because we're with you. We're with you. We're tired of this Trump stuff anyway. We are all tired of it.
Yeah.
That's my perception.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Maybe. So you're saying it's like a freak out, like last ditch effort to hang on to what they've got? Is that what you think it is?
Well, I don't think it's a freak out. I think it's a pragmatic move. I think it's a pragmatic move for the people. Now, look,
timing,
I don't think
the timing is weird.
Why?
when they're literally calling Trump Hitler and Trump supporters uncouth, Nazis.
Uncouth.
The week before, uncouth, yeah. Who raised these people? Oh my God, Joe Scarborough is the most punchable person in America. I'm pretty sure.
He is very.
I absolutely
he's very annoying.
Fucking cannot stand here. But I can't stand him in the way that I still like to watch him to make fun of him. But I can't stand Joe Scarborough.
Well, no, Jeremy, it makes perfect sense though. The timing makes perfect sense. Because the election happened.
Yeah.
I mean, when else would the timing be,
what
Jeremy?
I'm saying is
the election tells you what you need to know.
Who has forgotten what he said literally a week ago?
Well, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. The important part is the election gave them the information that they needed.
Right.
What's the information you learned from the election? You learned that all of the demographics have shifted towards Trump. All of them. Okay? Yeah. Every demographic that you thought was on your side, that was like you knew those were the people you were talking to.
Right.
All of those people shifted towards Trump.
Right.
So that's the information you need when you see what the voters basically delivered a statement to all of these people on the far left media side that said, hey, we're not buying what you're selling anymore. Right. And that is what that's what you would have to prompt you to change your messaging. Yeah. Which is what seems to be happening, is that the extreme left-wing messaging on the extreme left-wing media is messaging and signaling that they are shifting moderate, because they have realized after watching the results of the election that the whole coalition that they thought they could fearmonger is no longer buying what they're selling.
Right.
And if they want to survive, then they're going to have to sell something that people want to buy.
Well, this has got very positive implications, man.
Because, I agree.
Because the cyclical nature of this is they are now catering to a more moderate audience, but the crazy Trump deranged people who might come there for Trump derangement are not going to get that anymore, and maybe the echo chamber will dry up a bit.
Right, and they've got nowhere else to go besides MSNBC if they want Trump derangement.
Well, I mean, they can go online to.
But they don't go online.
Cenk
Look, that's why the right does really well online, the left doesn't, because the left-wing people don't know how to go online and find stuff that they like. They just know how to turn on MSNBC.
I'll tell you what, ABC's not changing much. You got Sonny Hostin out there still deranged as ever.
Oh, but The View apparently is actively recruiting for conservative voices because they feel like they don't have a balanced view.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Well, the producers of
what's her name that was supposedly a Trump supporter a few years ago, and now she's completely Trump deranged. Mm-hmm. I can't think of her name off the top of my head.
I don't know. I don't watch The View.
I watch commentary on The View though.
But no. Apparently, there's a report out recently, like the past couple of weeks, that apparently the producers of The View are scrambling, hoping to find more conservatives to put onto the show, because they feel like that The View doesn't seem to represent where the country's at anymore.
No, it doesn't.
Now, I would argue that it never did, but
right. I don't know. What was Barbara Walters like back in the day? Was she completely? I mean, I know she's a lefty, but like, is she a?
Well, it doesn't matter.
I thought she was a more objective.
It doesn't matter if Barbara Walters was more even-keeled than the people they have on there right now. The View still had all of their crazy left-wing people on there, and they didn't really have a conservative. They never have.
Right.
They never have really had a conservative.
Right.
On The View. They've had people who stand in as the token Republican, but they're not actually conservatives. Right. They don't even... They're not going to go to bat for any conservative positions. So it's like, okay... What are we doing here?
Yeah.
And they've got Joe Scarborough. They got the equivalent of Joe Scarborough on there as the Republican in the room.
I'm a Republican.
Yeah.
A Republican.
Where's Joe Scarborough from?
I don't know.
Massachusetts or something?
I don't know what that accent, what that, like, it's just snotty, smarmy upper class.
That's gotta be like a New England accent of some sort.
Yeah.
Like a
snooty high society.
Yeah, like a I don't know. Like a Massachusetts or something accent, right? It's got to be.
I'm trying to make a good decision.
Rhode Island. Maybe he's from Rhode Island.
Okay. I need to get. Oh, fuck! The stupid statue just ate my heart rod shot. Okay, there we go. I just needed a heart. Man, this curse cannot go away quick enough, man. I'm telling you.
What? He's from Atlanta, Georgia?
Oh, is that like a southern, like a rich southern accent? Fuck.
I don't think so.
God damn it. You know, I think that as the updates have gone on, this is getting harder. Because I got to the end of this game on my 3rd or 4th run.
Well, I mean, I don't know, man. This is 1.1.6.
Mm-hmm. What
This
about
is the same version of the game we've been playing, except for the first week.
I'm not saying that we've been playing. I'm saying when I was playing it on my own.
Well, are you not playing the updated version at home?
I haven't played it much lately.
Oh, okay. I thought you said you even got to the end of the game and beat the Ganon or whatever his name is.
Yeah, I think it was that was like 2 versions ago. It's been a while since. Yeah, I don't think I've beat it on this version.
Are you not playing the updated version at home?
I'm not playing it
because I thought. Well, no, but Jeremy, you told me that you beat the game.
I did.
Like
beat the
after
game
we after we had updated to the newest version. You're like, hey, I finally did beat it.
On this version? You sure that wasn't last version?
We've only ever updated this once since we've been playing it.
I know that.
This is the only update we've done.
But I told you that since we updated it to this version?
Yeah, we were on like the 3rd or 4th week of playing this.
Maybe I did beat it in this version. Maybe I'm just...
I mean, I don't know.
Maybe I just suck on stream. I don't know what to tell. Where's the further... We haven't even gotten to the Dwarven Village.
No, I think the furthest we've ever gotten is like floor 9,
could just be that I'm distracted with the conversation.
I mean, I'm sure that doesn't help.
Yeah. I mean, out of vengeance, I just want to keep playing this so I can we can make it.
Hey, look, I'm enjoying it, actually.
If you're loving the game, I am for just sticking with this as long as you want. So
I want to stop being this fox, though. This is what's really throwing me off today.
Then switch. You're in the first stage. Just start the game.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Look, I'll be a furry.
I didn't mean to be the fox. I was just fucking around on the menu and ended up selecting the
I just
fox.
need to do a barrel roll. That'll fix it.
Okay, we were having a good conversation, and I forgot what we were.
Yeah, we were talking about how Joe Scarborough's from Georgia.
Georgia, yeah. Is that like one of those like high class Savannah accents?
Maybe.
Or something? Is that what that is?
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe you think Joe Scarborough's ancestors were slave owner, like plantation slave owners?
So, good lord, and being a high-class Republican in Savannah, Georgia, or well, you said Atlanta, didn't you?
He said, yeah, he was born in Atlanta, but maybe he just was there. Maybe his mom was just there, and just happened to pop him out there at Atlanta. They might have just been visiting.
Yeah.
Okay, there's probably not another. I didn't see anything else bombable, and there's probably not another one if there was one right there, right? Right? Yeah, sure. Probably not. Anyways. Yeah, so Joe.
You know what? That inflection. Cogent. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, cool. There's a locked door, and then there's an impassable door, and there's nothing else in this room.
No, there was another door to the right.
No, I'm specifically not going over there so you can't see it.
Oh yeah.
Wow, there's literally nothing I can do here.
No, that cogent. That does to me sound like a guy with a thick Southern accent trying to cover up the fact that he has a Southern accent.
You think that's what it is? He's just been trying to cover it up all this time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy that heart container. I want that. Should I buy that key? What's the point of buying keys? The level's gonna have the keys.
So you can skip finding a key later.
I don't want to skip stuff. I like to play the game.
That's why I don't buy the keys. There's also the master key and the moon pearl that you can buy in the shop in the village. The moon pearl makes the gates, the colored gates, always down, so you don't have to find the switch, and the master key takes the place of small keys. That's the speed run strat if you just want to blow through the game.
Gotcha.
But I don't want to do that. The fun of this game is finding the cool stuff in the dungeons. Yeah, so Joe and Mika, couple of grifters, am I right?
Well, yeah, I mean that seems to be how it goes. But you know, that's the liberal way, man.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like lowercase liberals. I mean like capital L liberals in America. You know?
Yeah.
That's the way. They don't have any principles, okay? They just fucking do whatever they think is going to work for them, okay? Right. And during the first Trump presidency, it was TDS. Right. And this time, I think they're seeing that the winds are blowing the other way, and so it's not going to work for them this time. So moderation is going to be the strategy. Whereas, you know, on the right, you know, the right is never particularly popular or successful at anything that they do because they stick to their guns on it. And occasionally you get the people who don't, who grift, and that's your Benny Johnson types and your quartering Jeremy types. Right. You know, and those guys are going to grift, okay? And I believe that they're grifting, you know? I think they're saying whatever they think is going to get the views. Get the things. Yeah. And you know what? To bring it on back around... to the whole Sitch and Adam thing, so we were talking about that earlier. Yeah. I think that Sitch and Adam are a perfect example of the lowercase L liberal who just actually has principles and they stick to them. Yeah, and they don't have a following because nobody really wants to hear the truth. They want to hear their own opinions get confirmed, you know? Well, you know,
like a few weeks ago, we were talking about the Young Turks and how Anna and Jank are friends, and you know she doesn't plan on leaving the Young Turks, and then like the next week or 2 weeks later we were talking about it and you said that she maybe was thinking of leaving the Young Turks because she might be hurting.
She says she's not thinking of leaving, but she is worried that she's hurting them.
Yeah.
Financially.
Ooh, that's a good setup you got there.
Banana.
I think there was another room back there.
There is. I'm probably going to buy that soda, but do I have room for it?
Yeah, you could drop that green
I could drop
thing.
the moonstone.
You know. Okay, so she's not thinking of leaving, but she's afraid that she's hurting them. Like, can't she just find out what the consensus... Like, they don't want her to leave, right?
No.
Like, Jank doesn't want her to leave.
I think that Anna Kasparian is just being a woman, okay? Uh-huh. I think she's being neurotic about the idea that she's hurting the company, which I don't know that there's any actual hard data that says she is hurting the company. Right. I just think that she feels like she's hurting the company. Right. Because they get a lot of negative comments about Anna. And look, you know, women are gonna women, okay? If they think that something's happening, it's as good as happening, right? Even though it's not. I'm sure that Jank is like, hey, listen.
You know, I think
it's no big deal.
What I was
Don't worry about it, Anna. And Anna's probably panicking all the time, thinking, I'm killing this company.
Well, you don't think Jank feels some kind of way about the fact that she has turned from the principles, you know, that he holds so dear, and that they were in lockstep on for so many years until she kind of red-pilled herself?
Uh-huh. I don't know. He probably feels some kind of way about it, but I don't know that it's. I don't know. That's necessarily
related.
Huh?
No, they were just friends. They found each other or something. Like where did
they just needed a co-host, and
where did the Young
she
Turks
applied.
come about? Oh, okay. Is she Turkish?
No, she's Armenian.
Armenian. Okay.
Yeah. Which is funny because, you know, the Young Turks, the political movement behind the genocide of Armenia, you know, and then Jank is a big Turkish guy. You know, he's a big.
He is a big Turkish guy. Yeah. Do you think Anna Kasparian smells bad?
Huh?
Isn't that an Armenian stereotype?
I have no idea. No, I would imagine that Anna Kasparian probably smells very nice.
She probably smells nice.
Yeah, I would assume she seems to be
looks
well-groomed.
like she smells nice.
Yes.
You think Jank smells bad?
Probably so. He looks pretty oily, you know? He has a very oily look to him.
You think Hassan Piker smells bad?
Probably smells like BO constantly. That would be my guess.
So why did Hassan leave the Young Turks?
Because he was got to go out and make it big on his own.
I mean, you know.
I mean, he's way bigger than the Young Turks, so...
Is he really? I don't know. I don't know the size of these
yeah.
people. How did he get so big? Just being extremist?
Just being annoying and an asshole.
Yeah. I mean, Jake's annoying and an asshole, and isn't he Hassan's uncle?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think most of Hassan's appeal is not his extremism. I mean, I think his extremism is part of his appeal for the people that appeals to.
Yeah.
But I think that most of his appeal comes from the fact that he's just a bully. He's mean and hateful, and people feel powerful whenever they see Hassan Piker being basically a jock bully guy. Okay,
Is that why
like
Destiny's popular?
Well, Destiny is definitely not like a Chad.
No, he's not. He's
jock
not.
dude.
But he's an asshole.
No, Destiny is a dumb person, smart person. So like all the dumb people, hear Destiny talk really fast, and they see his jaw move left and right whenever he talks, and they see that, and it makes them feel smart. They see him talk fast and read Wikipedia articles really fast, and it makes them think that they're very smart because they watch a very smart person. You can tell he's smart because he talks really fast. And his jaw moves left and right.
Destiny is the left's Ben Shapiro?
He is, although I would put Ben Shapiro up against Destiny any day.
Have they not debated?
Listen,
sure
I don't even...
debated,
they have. They didn't debate. I think they had a conversation, because I think Destiny basically went into his Ben Shapiro talk in pussy mode, because he probably knew that if they actually had a debate, he would probably get annihilated by Ben Shapiro.
Yeah.
Because listen, whether you like Ben Shapiro or not, which I don't even like him that much, although I have been watching a show a little bit more recently, I get into... I've already checked all of these.
I think
they don't move. Look, I'm just double checking. Look, I'm living for the dream of one day one of those blocks.
That is the way
moving.
that it is with those blocks, but you will get one, and it will be a curse. But still.
Well, here's what I'm wondering: did one of these updates remove that?
No,
possibly?
I don't think so.
Well, because you keep claiming this is a thing, and I've never seen it, and I'm just wondering if maybe
one of the updates said that he made them more common, so it's surprising that it would be. I made them more common. You know what? I took them out completely, actually. But Ben Shapiro.
So Ben Shapiro. Where the fuck do I go?
He went into Ben Shapiro's interview in pussy mode, is what you said.
Yeah, I think he was just having a amicable conversation with Ben Shapiro about stuff instead of a debate.
Because he knew he would get owned.
Yeah, look, Destiny is really good at talking fast, and that is an effective tactic against a lot of people.
Yeah. Because
a lot of people are intimidated by...
Go down.
Oh.
Wait, but you haven't been down
I haven't been down there, but that is the direction I'm supposed to go, is where that key hole is. That's what I wasn't finding. No, a lot of people are intimidated by fast talking.
Right.
That sounds stupid, but it makes sense, though, because the way that Destiny... What the fuck is with the hitbox? Okay.
You can't go down. That's what I'm telling you.
Oh, right. Yeah. You told me that. Okay, I forgot about that.
The hitbox facing downward is awful.
That's a glitch, though, right? That's not real.
I think so. I don't think that's... But I think it's been brought to his attention, and I don't think he knows how to fix it, if that makes sense.
Here's my guess. My guess is that the hitbox is probably the bottom square of his... Damn it. The hitbox is probably the bottom square of the sprite.
Yeah.
The sprite is 2 tiles tall.
Right.
So the hitbox is probably the bottom square of the sprite, and whenever you're
use that soda.
When you're in the downward position,
So, just making sure you knew that you didn't.
When
use
you're
that
in the
stuff.
downward position, your sword probably can't hit the hitbox.
Yeah.
Without
I think
getting
that is
into
what
the
it
hitbox
is.
of the mace.
It's actually bad on everything, but especially bad on the.
Well,
on
right,
the
because the
mace guys.
hitbox for the damage hitbox
Yeah.
for the mace is
It's
probably
high.
the next tile up. So you physically,
Right.
your sword cannot even get into his hitbox.
Right.
Because the mace will hit you before your
Right.
sword ever even gets into that tile.
Yeah.
That his hitbox is.
Oh,
Yeah. So the
that's
solution,
definitely a
the solution would
honorable-
probably be to just for that enemy to just make the hitbox to both tiles.
both tiles. Yeah.
And it would just always be that way. Even
Right.
though that's probably not ideal for some actually, I don't even know why you wouldn't do that for all the enemies, but maybe there's some reason
Yeah.
that you don't want the
some
reach.
sort of matter of perspective type, because of the way that the
Great.
nice. Oh, the map is hidden.
Oh no.
Oh, that is pretty bad.
It's confusing because I don't know where, but I have a pretty good idea of
Yeah.
where this place goes. I know the layout.
I
pretty
know
well.
the layout of this of this floor of the dungeon. Floor 5 is the one that I've got down pretty good.
Well, no, I walked through it
I know. I'm just
earlier.
kidding. I'm
Like
joking.
I generally remember where I've come from.
I'm just kidding.
Look, I understand that some people have to study a map for hundreds of times
Yeah.
before they know where anything's at. I know some people go places and they never, ever, no matter how many times they do it, will ever know where to go.
Yeah.
But I have a decent memory for
I'm
for
somewhat
directions.
in the middle of that. I'm somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
I'm not a complete moron, but I do lose my way. But
Well, anyway, so fast talking. I was
Yeah.
saying
yeah.
people get intimidated by the fast talking because it's not because he's talking fast. It's really intimidating.
Right.
It's because Destiny is good at throwing a lot of facts at you.
Uh-huh.
Now the facts may or may not be true.
True. These are
Or-
not true facts.
I mean, they may not even be untrue.
Mhm.
They just may be misleading
faith.
in the way that they're presented.
Yeah.
Like the facts don't actually necessarily work for the argument that he's making, but he does it anyway.
Yeah.
But he says it anyway, and you don't know because you're not familiar with the fact claim.
Right.
You don't know how to counter it because you don't know you don't know if the fact claim is true or not. So somebody that has command of a lot of facts that they can throw out is going to be effective as a debater.
Right.
Because if you're not familiar with them, you can't refute them.
Did you
right?
get the letter? Oh,
Yeah.
This isn't the end of the floor anyway, but okay.
So that's why he's effective, because he is intimidating, because whenever somebody doesn't know all the facts he's familiar with that he can throw at you, then you don't know how to refute those facts, right?
Yeah. You're not going to
Or the
test those
fact
blocks,
claims.
Caleb?
Man, there's
You're
a
not
lot
gonna
of
test
fucking
those
blocks
blocks,
around here. Shit. Look at all those blocks.
I agree. I know what you're talking about. My brain moves a little bit slowly whenever people talk fast.
Uh-huh.
And I get being one of those. I am one of those people who, like, if somebody throws a bunch of shit at me all at once, I'm like, I gotta process this before I even have time to fucking respond to you.
Right. So my point is that
Yeah.
the reason that Destiny tends to do well in debates is not because he's a very good debater, because he's not.
Yeah.
He's not particularly talented at debate. He's talented
Eat
at...
that magic.
Huh?
Eat that magic.
He's talented at... He's talented at having a lot of fact claims on hand that he can throw out
Yeah.
to kind of send people into loops and, put them in positions where they can't refute his claims easily.
Mm-hmm.
To essentially distract. It's basically a game of distracting
Yeah.
from the actual argument by leveraging some fact claims
It's
that
gonna
you
happen
can't verify.
one of these times.
Whereas Ben Shapiro, what Ben Shapiro does, Ben Shapiro talks fast,
Yeah.
obviously.
Right.
But he's also good at having a lot of facts on hand.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that Ben Shapiro is really good at is constructing arguments in such a way that you end up implicitly agreeing to some terms that he's set
Yeah.
without even knowing that it's happened yet.
Right.
He's actually really good at debate specifically because he's good at constructing arguments in a way that you essentially can't get out of. And it's not, his game is not to confuse you. Oops. His game is to essentially sneak premises into his arguments that put you at his mercy automatically.
Right.
So, yeah, if you're Destiny and you're going up against Ben Shapiro, you probably know that it's going to go bad for you
Right.
if you try to make it a debate. Because Shapiro is just a much more skilled debater.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. Debating is in and of itself a skill. Constructing effective arguments that work well in a debate is a skill set of its own. Beyond just like having a lot of facts present.
Right.
So anyway, yes. So Destiny's talk with Ben Shapiro was not a debate.
Okay.
I think he knew that it would not go well.
Right.
Now his audience would agree with him and say he won no matter what, but
right.
Anybody who was undecided would probably see that debate and think, "Wow, Destiny's not very smart, is
Right.
he?"
Yeah.
Whether you like Ben Shapiro or not, you have to admit he's extremely talented.
Well, what do you not like about Ben Shapiro? Like, he might annoy you or whatever, but like, what do you not like about him?
Well, so Ben Shapiro is the thing that gets me about Ben Shapiro is that he is wrong about a lot of things that I know about, but in a smug way that's very frustrating for me to watch.
Oh, yeah?
Like, the thing that really got me against Ben Shapiro was in 2020, after the election was over. Ben Shapiro was running around saying, actually, the polls weren't actually wrong. The polls weren't actually wrong. The polls were actually totally fine. We looked at the polls were fine, they weren't wrong. We knew this was going to happen because the polls said. But the polls were way fucking off in 2020.
Really,
and you know
by
what?
8 points or something.
You know what? You're right. We were talking about this a couple of weeks ago, and you had said that you thought that the polls were worse in 2020 than they were in 2016, and I said, because I had somewhere in my brain this idea had been got wormed in there that the polls were not as bad in 2020 as they were as in 2016, like they improved.
Yeah.
But we actually looked into this since then, and they were actually somewhat worse in 2020 than in 2016. And so but I do remember
because they had Biden up by like 10 or 12 in a lot of places where he only won by 2 or 3.
Right. So it's not that the overall nationwide numbers were like crazy way far off in 2020, but the places where the polls were bad, they were really bad.
Right.
But anyway,
but not as bad as in 2024 when they had Iowa.
That was crazy.
So
Jeremy, this is the thing.
So when they were rolling that out, and all the Democrats and all the media pundits were like, "Oh, this is big news," were you not just going, "No fucking way"?
Yes,
like, what a joke.
I looked at it and I said, well, this is obviously not true.
Yeah.
None of the other polling is even remotely close to this. Right. So even if you don't think that polling is particularly accurate or the methodology is particularly accurate, this is clearly an outlier. Yeah. This is the most extreme outlier you could imagine.
You know, it's really funny too. Like, after that poll rolled out, nobody believed that. After that poll rolled out, I checked Polymarket. It didn't change. Not even like a percentage.
No, because no real person was looking at that poll. I looked
at Iowa specifically, and it was like a 93% Trump, and it was there's no chance.
Everybody was going around saying, no, you don't understand. Even people on the right were going around saying, I was hearing it, you don't understand. Ann Selzer is a credible pollster. Ann Selzer has had fantastic
only for
polling.
Iowa. So if she's gonna it's. Like, maybe maybe she's been fantastic for Iowa.
Yes,
but she has thrown her career away at this point.
Oh, she retired.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you knew this, but Ann Selzer announced last week that she was retiring for polling 2024 as the last one.
So she was throwing some shit against the wall.
Well, no, Jeremy, this is the thing. This is why you asked me before the election. You asked me, don't you think that they will have fixed their polling methods by now?
Yeah, I did say that. I did.
And I said to you, they can't.
Yeah.
It is not possible for them to fix their polling methods because they are
freaking out. Just
I understand.
You know what I mean?
But I was telling you that I think the polls are going to be horribly wrong this time as well, which they were.
They were.
And the reason that I was telling you that is because I know what's going on here. They're polling, so they have these theories about how their methodology works that are not tied to the real world, but they believe that these theories about how they do their polling methodology are science. Mm-hmm. They believe it's science.
Yeah.
So they go through their methodology. They can't change the methodology because they believe deep down in their soul, okay, that this methodology they've come up with is a science, like a hard science, and this is a truth. This is a factual thing about the universe, that the way that they construct their polling system is scientifically correct. And so they can't change it, because if they change it, then they're denying the science of their polling system. But the problem is that it's not science. People feel ways about things as they happen. People move from one category to another. Yeah. People shift all over the place. This idea that there's like some sort of hard scientific method you can use to construct polling to understand what's going on because the way that the polling methodology is skewed is because they oversample Democrats, or they go and look at certain age categories and they only sample those age categories, and they weight some age categories, and they weight more heavily some age categories, they underweight other age categories. They have all these theories about who goes out to vote, why they go out to vote, what certain age groups mean about things, and they've got this whole theory constructed around that. But the reality is that things change over time,
right? And
you can't look at that and say this is the way that we do this. But the other thing is with the Seltzer poll, the whole thing about the Seltzer poll was that Ann Seltzer had this idea that in Iowa it would be, because Iowa has like a really large like retired population. So for the Seltzer poll, the reason why it was such an extreme outlier is because she thought that the elderly vote was going to come out in force this time. That her theory, so basically she went into it with a theory to get the poll results she wanted. Yeah. Her theory was that because of all the abortion stuff that's going on since Roe versus Wade being overturned,
the elderlies are going to come out.
That all of the women, all the old women who were fighting for women's rights back in the 60s and the 70s, whenever they were young, teenagers and whatnot, out there doing their protests, that those women were going to show up in force because they got those rights and they're not going to let those rights go away.
No, those women showed up for Trump.
So that Seltzer poll was a specific, heavily weighted demographic that she selected in particularly
Des Moines?
I believe so, yeah. It was a narrow group that she sampled for that poll, and she got exactly the number she wanted. Yeah. And she said, "Yep, that makes sense to me," because she was probably one of those hippie girls, because she's old. She's like 70 something. 60, late 60s, 70 something. I don't know. I read an article about her retiring.
So is that actually like has the demographic information come out about that poll? Like that's actually she just oversampled elderly liberal women in Des Moines, Iowa, and that's how she got her result?
But if you
was that information not out there before the election?
It was, yeah. They talked about the polling methodology.
Then who?
That's the reason they bought it is because
the population of old women to others in Des Moines.
The reason they bought it is because they bought her premise. They bought her premise that the old ladies were going to show up in force.
It doesn't matter if 100% of the old liberals, ladies in Des Moines,
Des Moines, Iowa,
show up. all of the rural everything.
She didn't only, okay, to be clear, she didn't only poll old ladies, okay? This wasn't a poll just of old ladies, okay? But she heavily weighted elderly women in the poll because she thought they were going to be an extremely strong demographic for Kamala, which they were not.
No.
Turns out, maybe in Des Moines, that her poll might be valid results.
Right.
But it turns out in all of Iowa, when you look at the demographic breakdown, the elderly women broke for Trump.
Yeah,
so it was a failure. The entire theory behind that poll was a failure. But what's interesting about that poll is that poll actually doesn't fall inside of the realm of what we were talking about before, which is the absolute gospel. We have this methodology that we follow, and it's going to give us results. Just trust us. That maybe not last election, maybe not the one before, and maybe not the one before that, but it's gonna give us results because it's science. It has to be true.
Right.
That poll, in particular, isn't one of those because she did use some out of the box methodology. That was based on a theory that had some kind of merit to it because there was at least a theoretical reason why this might be the case.
Yeah.
That you and I could sit here and hear that explanation, and had it gone that way, and that explanation had been offered to us for why Iowa went 5+5 for Kamala or whatever, that would have been an explanation that you and I could have sat here and heard and gone, well, I guess that makes some sense that maybe these old ladies who fought for women's rights back in the day, back in the day, were like, before I die, I'm going to make sure I'm going to keep those women right. I fought for those rights and I'm keeping them.
Right.
But it turns out that was not the case.
I'm 79 years old and I reserve the right to have an abortion if I want to.
It's about making sure that my great-granddaughter can kill her child.
Making sure that I don't ever have any great-great-grandkids.
Yeah, I never even wanted that great-great-grandkid. I just want to make sure that before I die, I don't
that I end up the legacy.
I don't accidentally have a great-great-grandchild I got to pay attention to. I'm hoping that I can just skate off of this mortal coil without even having to entertain the idea of a great-great-grandchild.
Yeah. Well, hey, I have closing thoughts, and then I'm done for the night. You can say your piece at the end if you want. But
okay.
My thoughts are the sheer number of people who are going home, who are taking their ball and going home after this election is astounding.
What do you mean?
And Seltzer for
sure,
one.
Sure.
But pollsters in general, I think, are going home. I don't think anybody will ever believe them again. I think polling might be over.
I was going to say that. I think it may not be possible to construct a polling methodology that works anymore.
MSNBC, going home, packing up, going home. CNN, a bunch of those people going home. Matt Gaetz, get the fuck out of here, Matt Gaetz. You served your purpose. Now go away. I don't know anything about this woman that he's picked.
I know very little about her. I saw some people saying, I'm not getting what I want. I wanted Matt Gaetz to go in there and be a bulldog.
Right.
But then I've seen some other people say...
this lady might be a bulldog.
That's what I've heard.
I saw some clips of her earlier today defending Trump on some stuff.
I've heard the people who were not being crybabies the whole time going, actually, this is a great pick.
Yeah.
she's
a
actually
Trump
great.
Supporter. And she I saw her going off on some DOJ stuff earlier today. And I was like, okay, yeah, she might be a good pick. Honestly, she might have been the first pick, and Donald Trump used Matt Gaetz as cannon fodder.
I'm going to throw Matt Gaetz under the bus, Trump says.
Yeah.
I've got a great plan for Matt Gaetz. He's going to be out of the House of Representatives anyway because his ethics report. How about we use him before he drifts off into obscurity?
Hey, it might not have been a bad play because now, in comparison, whoever he nominates is going to be better than that.
Right.
And so, but my thoughts here are, the media, the pollsters, the left wing nut jobs, these echo chambers. It seems like they're just being shut down all around the board, and I love it. I love it. I'm loving the direction that this is taking. Now, this is not about Donald. Well, I mean, it is about Donald Trump because he's the one. His election, his second election, the second coming of Donald Trump, you might say, is what has spurred all of this.
Sure.
But it's not about Donald Trump. It's about the American people saying,
right.
We reject you. We're not interested in what you have to say anymore.
Right.
And I think it's a positive move for the country. I have hope for my kids' generations and my grandkids' generations again that I haven't had. Look, man, I've been afraid to die because I don't know what I'm leaving my kids with. You know what I mean? Like, I've been like, when my kids are grown and they take over, and my grandkids are grown and they take over, then I pass on. I'm not going to be able to supervise what the hell is happening anymore. I know that's crazy to think. I mean, right now my kids are minors and I'm responsible for them, and I won't be at that time. But it's like, this is the world that I have to leave my kids, and now I kind of finally feel like we're coming back to some sense of normalcy where I can be happy and proud to leave that to my kids. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I have. So you go ahead.
I think that it is a good listen, I don't buy into, a lot of people have been talking up in the lead up to this election about all the fourth turning, generations theory stuff. I don't know if you've heard of it. Tim Pool talks about it all the time.
I don't watch Tim Pool that often, but anyway.
I don't buy it. Okay, I think the fourth turning stuff is bullshit.
So what is
this?
A brief synopsis?
It's basically, it's this thing called generations theory, okay? And basically some guy who wrote some books about this. There's the fourth turning and then there's the fourth turning is here. There are two books about this issue. It's some guy who went back into history and like tried to catalog societal like movements, like to see like where he basically tried to construct a system for like understanding the cycles that society goes through, from like things being stable to things being chaotic socially to things being like hitting a fever pitch and some sort of major conflict happening, like civil war, or major like nationwide protests that lead to huge upheaval and changes of law, such as like civil rights and stuff like that. And then how that eventually cycles back into a time of peace and a new social paradigm is established and stuff like that.
Like a cyclical right to left to center and back to right type thing? No, that's not what you're talking about.
A cyclical stability to chaos or stability to instability to chaos to stability process.
All right.
It doesn't really necessarily have to be right or left. Either way, it can go either way, according to this theory. I think it's bunk because of the old classic investing adage that past performance is not an indicator of future future whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying. The whole point, I think that you can look at history and you can see certain patterns, but that does not in any way indicate that the pattern is going to continue on some sort of specific schedule, right? And his whole theory is based on like it's an 80-year schedule that he like, it's gonna happen. He's like the fourth turning is like the fourth stage of this process where the revolution occurs, and then after which everything gets back to normal. And this fourth turning is supposed to be happening now, like we're in the fourth turning, and one of the sides is going to win. It's either going to be the far left woke people or the far right, fascist neo-Nazis are going to win. One of those two extreme groups is going to win and take over the country, and then there will be a time of peace where everybody's on board with the far right fascism neo-Nazis, or they're going to be on board with the far left woke cancel culture mob. Okay. I think it's bullshit. I think we're going to land somewhere normal.
When I said that with the right to center to left to center kind of cyclical, where wave, when I was saying wave kind of like a a sound wave or whatever.
Sure.
Like where you go, in the 80s we were a very conservative country. We had the Reagan years, straight into the Bush years. Then we went into Clinton, which was not an upheaval by any means. I mean, he was a fairly moderate policy president. Then back to Bush 2 for 8 years. It was like that was a very conservative time. Then Obama hit, and it was like that was almost like that was like a liberal time period.
Well, I would argue that Reagan and Bush were not conservative times. They were very moderate times, and that Clinton was basically a continuation of the moderate times that we had under Reagan and Bush, and that then Bush was a kind of
neocon.
It was moderate as well.
Yeah.
The Bush, I feel like the Reagan all the way to Bush Jr. That whole era. Time frame was basically the modern neocon era, and then Obama takes us hard into the left wing crazy zone, which is funny because a lot of people go, Obama, no, he's a moderate,
right?
And that's because all of those people remember only the 2008 presidential campaign. That's all they remember.
Right.
They don't remember anything that happened during the Obama presidency or the 2012 campaign.
Right.
I remember the 2012 campaign vividly.
Right.
Because that was the first election that I voted in. The 2012 campaign was the first election I was actually able to vote in.
I missed that one.
Legally. Because the 2008 campaign, I missed by... 2 months?
Yeah.
2 months. I couldn't vote in that campaign. So I didn't pay too much attention to it.
Right.
But the 2012 campaign, I was locked in.
Yeah.
I was locked in because that was the first one I got to vote on. The first presidential campaign I got to vote on.
For Romney?
I did vote for Romney. I got out there and I punched that computer screen so hard.
Oh boy,
for
I can't wait to get out there and vote for
Listen,
Romney.
I didn't like Romney, okay? I didn't like Romney, but I was totally locked in.
Oh, no. I missed that election because I missed the polling time. I told you this before, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, really?
Like I intended on voting on the day of, and because of work, I missed polling place. That's the only election I haven't voted in, but since I've been old enough. But
I can't believe you missed 2012, bro.
Yeah, no, I was so ecstatic to go cast my vote for Romney. I couldn't wait to get out there. But I just missed it. But and that's why he lost, I guess, because not enough people, quit their jobs to go vote for him.
That's true. They were all at work.
But they so we go left, but only for 8 years, and then we take a hard right again.
Well, no, I disagree. I think that Trump is back into the moderate zone, but not quite the same moderate zone. I think Trump was a moderate in 2016, but with a different set of moderate positions than what we were used to during the Bush and Reagan years.
When I say
it was
hard
less,
right, I don't mean far right. I mean
no.
hard right back into...
Well, but I don't like saying hard right. I know what you're saying. It's a directional thing, not necessarily where you end up, but what direction you're going.
We didn't land in far right.
But I don't think that it's... I don't think
hard
it's...
right from leftism.
I don't think it's accurate to say that we made a hard turn right, because I don't really think it was that hard of a turn. I think we just kind of drifted back over to where we were before. But Trump is a big character, so people feel like it was a big thing.
Sure.
But I don't think that administration policy wise, I don't think that we like really just turned everything around. I think that we turned some things around, and I think it was a good time for the country. Obviously, economically, it was a good time for the country, and foreign policy-wise, it was a good time for the country. There was a lot of good things that happened, but there's a lot of things that didn't really change at all.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's not the point. The point is that a lot of people perceive Obama as being like a moderate left person, but he wasn't.
No.
His presidency was extreme.
Yeah.
And it's because they only think of 2008, where he was like, we're not red Americans. We're not blue Americans.
Yeah.
We're the United States of America. And everybody's like, oh my God, he's the greatest orator of all time. He's so amazing. This is amazing. Look, Jeremy, the substance to his arguments. He's not some politician saying platitudes. He's saying substance,
right.
like hope and change.
And there's great significance to the passage of time. Oh wait, no, that was the other one.
Well, you could have thrown that quote in there with Obama, and I would have not
There's
even
great
known.
significance to the passage of time.
The thing you gotta think about with the passage of time is that there's great significance with the passage of time. You know, like time, it passes.
And yesterday is today's yesterday.
And tomorrow is today's tomorrow.
And today is tomorrow's yesterday.
Yeah.
And the wheels on the bus go round and round.
Yeah.
All through the town.
So anyway, look. I don't know what the point is talking about Obama. I get what we're saying though is the whole. I get what you're saying is the pendulum thing.
Yeah. Pendulum is
the right-left pendulum.
Right.
That's not really what the fourth turning is about.
No, when you first said it, that's what I thought we were talking about.
It's more about, but again, his time scale doesn't even make sense on the surface of it because his time. If you actually track the 80-year time scale, and I don't remember, I went through it and actually looked at what the time periods were.
Right.
But like in times that are supposed to be times of peace, there was all kinds of social unrest, like crazy shit going on, and I was like, okay, well.
One more thing. Go ahead.
And so anyway, so I don't buy into generations theory, but I do think that there is something happening that's like a paradigm shift, like. We've been drifting left for a long time. And as a conservative, my entire life has felt like, oh, this is what it is to be a conservative. Right. Is to sit here and watch everything around you drift further and further left. And you're supposed to just hold on and try to just pull on those reins. You can't do anything about it. You just pull on the reins. But
like you handcuff yourself to a pole and watch everybody else drift off to the left.
Sure. But I do feel like that this election and everything that surrounds it and everything that's going on culturally, socially, I think it does signal possibly a total directional change for the country where we may no longer be drifting left.
Right.
We may actually be drifting right for a change.
Look, if we just land right in the center.
Well, but the point is that everything has for basically the past 100 years has been a continuous drift left.
Yeah. Since Woodrow Wilson.
Yeah, we've basically been on a continuous drift to the left.
Yeah.
And it's just been drifting and drifting and drifting, and there are periods of time where it's more extreme, and there are periods of time where it's more gradual.
Yeah.
But it's always going left.
Right.
But I think there's a real possibility that we might go this way.
Yeah.
And who knows? Let's say we were here in the 90s and we've drifted all the way over here, right?
Yeah.
We might just end up back here.
Yeah, or, hey, let's get back over to where we were in the 90s.
Well, but it could be... I don't want to get too excited, but it could be a true paradigm shift where we don't just go right for a little while.
Yeah.
But maybe the actual... shift becomes rightward for generations.
Yeah.
Where that we do the thing we did with the left for the past 100 years.
Right.
We start doing that towards the right.
Well, so what I'm thinking is...
And then the left is like holding on. They're like, oh my God.
What...
How do we go back to Crazy Town?
Right. This is where... How do we go back? Yeah, Crazy Town. Where drag queens aren't allowed in the public library to read to kids. Oh my God! But what I feel like that this administration's number one priority, before all of the policies, before everything, of course, we need to be policy driven and get as much done as possible in the short amount of time we have. But their number one priority is to look good. Prop up the future generation.
Yes.
J.D. Vance whoever is going to.
Well, we have to fix the elections, okay?
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
But to fix the election system so that the fuckery can't happen anymore.
That's a given. We have to fix the election
that's
system.
Priority one. Honestly, that's priority one. Fix the election system so it can't be fucked with.
Right.
We want it to be verifiable. We want it to be completely transparent.
This needs to be a very... Yes, and I'm 100% on board with you. Just to finish my point, this needs to be a very presidential term.
Well, what is interesting
comes up where the Matt Gaetz pick, not great to start, but if we come off looking very presidential throughout these 4 years, to where the people look at not just Donald Trump but this administration as our leadership. Like these are the people we want us to lead.
Well, it is interesting that on that note that Trump's picks have almost exclusively been very young people.
Yes.
Which I think is a deliberate choice. I think it's a completely deliberate choice on Trump's part that he is basically trying to put together an all-star team of young talent to basically be like, hey, after I'm out of here, we're not going to be electing an 80-year-old president next time, okay? We're done with that. We're not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
We're going to have a young, viable candidate. We're going to have a cabinet full of young people who are more connected to what's going on in reality. And I think of the old people that exist out there, Trump is probably one of the more connected, grounded, real, like actually hooked into what's going on. And I think that's because of that's just inevitable. I think that Trump, the personality that he is, there's not a world in which Trump doesn't know what's hot and what's new.
Right.
Because that dude, his entire life has been building a brand based on popular culture and understanding what's going on. So that dude's got his finger on the pulse like no old person does.
Right.
But regardless, the next generation, the next president is not going to be some old guy.
Right.
Even if Trump is with it. There's not very many old people who are with it like Trump is. So we have to have a new generation. I think that's what he's putting together is a kind of a dream team of up and coming talent that will be all just jettisoned onto the national stage by this presidency.
It would be fantastic to see a whole new crop. A whole new... what would be awesome is if all of the Republicans, all of the MAGA Republicans would rally. I know I keep saying it, but would rally behind J.D. Vance in 28. Yeah. Just to get him past the finish line. Just say, we're all with this guy.
Well, I think he's got 4 years to continue to prove himself. But at this point, to me, he kind of came out of nowhere for me because I didn't really know much about J.D. Vance until the advice. I mean, I knew he existed. I knew about his book. I knew about the movie that was made out of his book. Yeah. And I knew he had won a Senate seat recently. Right. But besides that, because I think he's only been in the Senate for what, like 2 years?
2 years, yeah. Not long. 22, I think.
So, I knew that he existed. I knew he existed actually before he got into politics because I had heard of his book. But I just, he's got 4 years to continue to prove himself, but it just seems like he came out of the gate with this vice presidential nomination and just performed so well.
He feels and seems presidential. He holds himself.
He strikes me. He strikes me as just the logical, natural, kind of air.
Right. Yeah.
Just already with the very little amount of exposure I've had to him. Some people they've got it. Right. Whatever it is, they've got it. And I think Vance is one of those people who he's got the right stuff, as you might say.
So two funny things real quick, and then
he could fuck it up. He's got 4 years to fuck it up. But I'm just saying.
I think he's like the most wholesome, salt of the earth type person. I don't think there's what are they gonna pin on this sweet family man who's got
who's married an Indian?
Oh yeah, right.
Well, the left has gone full racism now, so maybe that's
true. Maybe
they were always racist, but they're mask off now. They're fuck fuck Mexicans. We should get rid of all these people. They screwed us over.
Yeah, right.
Voting for Trump.
Go ahead and deport all the legal Latinos who voted for Trump. But the other funny things, though, is apparently the front runner for 28 for the Democratic nomination is Kamala Harris.
Oh, really?
Apparently, she's just dominating the polls, for the leftist polls for like who they want to put up against.
Is that so?
The next MAGA
Whose
Republican.
leftist polls are we talking about here?
I don't know. I just heard it, but no, but loser of the year.
No,
loser of a life. Not
her
Kamala
career's
Harris.
over.
Not her. Yeah. Loser of an entire lifetime, though. I have to nominate Alan Lichtman.
Yeah.
As the biggest loser of all time.
You saw that interview with on Piers Morgan with Cenk.
Oh, I've seen lots of stuff about Alan Lichtman. I was following him before the election.
You didn't see the interview that he
where
did
Cenk
where
just took him apart.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Cenk took him to town.
Where he said,
"You don't know anything."
Where Alan Lichtman said to Cenk, "Don't blaspheme me."
Yes.
And
he said, "Who are you, Jesus Christ?"
Jesus Christ? It was hilarious.
Yes, that was hilarious.
I hate Cenk Uygur most of the time, but that was he. Sometimes he has some bangers.
Cenk is very, very much just despises the Democrat Party and the liberal talking heads and the bullshit media.
Yes.
And that's somewhere I can level with Cenk on, and I love to watch him take apart the media.
Yeah, but his reasons are incorrect, so that's the problem.
Well,
he despises the liberal media because he thinks that they're too moderate, and that's why the Democrats don't win. Which is
okay.
How can you be that retarded? Look, listen, Cenk, my dude.
Yeah.
Are you actually retarded? What's wrong with you?
No, okay, but anyway...
all of these people, they would have... that voted for Trump, they would have not voted for Trump. They would have voted for Bernie.
Yeah.
They would have voted for somebody extreme. Because Kamala is so moderate, everybody's like, oh, I can't vote for her. I gotta go vote for the exact opposite of what I want. Yeah, what a retard. Yeah. How could you possibly be that...
listen,
how delusional do you need to be Cenk Uygur?
Get off of Bernie. Bernie is fringe, and he would not have ever won any elections. There's no way.
Including the primaries that he didn't win.
Well, they say that Hillary stole it from him, and then Joe Biden stole it from him.
They say that, but that's not what happened. What happened is that the normal thing that always happens in elections happened, where all of the people who were running in the moderate portion of the party dropped out and threw their support behind Hillary and Biden, which is what happens because the moderates that drop out, they're gonna drop out because they're not gonna win. So when the Bernie people complain, they go,
Trump's not on the fringe like Bernie Sanders. He's not a fringe candidate. He's a populist. He's a candidate. Well, Bernie Sanders is a populist candidate, but he's a candidate that people like. Though Bernie Sanders. The Bernie bros like him.
Yes.
The college kids who don't know anything like him.
Bernie has a hardened core.
Nobody like who works for a living takes Bernie Sanders serious.
Bernie Sanders has a hardened core of support.
Yeah.
But that's it.
The reason people say that Bernie bros voted for Trump and would have voted for Bernie is because of people like Joe Rogan, who was a Bernie bro and then has now supported.
But I don't think that Bernie bros wouldn't have voted for Trump this time, though. Yeah. Bernie bros voted for Trump in 2016. That was a thing that apparently happened. There's a claim that happened. I don't know the truth value of that claim.
Yeah.
But that's a claim that's made, and I'm assuming that somebody has some information to know
out of spite against the Democrats. Is that the idea? They voted for the opposite of what they believe in, but out of spite toward the Democrats?
Because of anti-establishment mindset. Because I think a lot of the Bernie bros in 2016 had an anti-establishment mindset, and they saw Bernie as a guy who was going to come in and tear down the existing establishment and replace it with the socialist one that they wanted. But they didn't have that option. So as an alternative, the theory is that they voted for Trump because Trump was also the guy who was going to tear down the establishment. Not necessarily to get them what they wanted, but they were hoping that he would just tear things down.
Right.
And then maybe next time they'll get what they want because all the stuff will be torn down.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's easier to remodel your house if it's already if it's already torn down.
Studs,
you know, you don't have to do all the tear down work.
Right, right. That's
a big part of it.
That's actually not a bad. If they were expecting him to truly drain the swamp, then I mean, really, I hope this. Well, I see the swamp getting drained right now because this cabinet is completely different.
Yeah.
Than the one we saw in 2016.
Well, it doesn't have any of the establishment people in it.
Right, and so
it is. In 2016, they're Sitch and Adam have talked about this. There was a book that was written about, which I don't believe anything that's in any of the books that are written about Trump because when you read a book that's about Trump, it's like always written by somebody who hates Trump.
Right.
And so like even if they're interviewing people from the Trump administration and stuff, I don't buy the framing, you know. But they did talk about this book that was about the transition process for the original for the 2016 election. Yeah. And they said that in the book it says that Trump was really resistant to putting together a transition team early, like in the campaign. Yeah. Because they speculate in the book that Trump didn't think he was going to win, so he didn't want to spend the money on it. Yeah. Because if they weren't going to win, what was the point in having this transition, putting together all the money to get this transition team together? Right. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if Trump didn't think he was going to win. I think Trump probably thought there was a pretty good chance he wasn't going to win. But I don't know if he was like he just had it in his head, oh, I'm not going to win this election. Right. You know, there's no point. But regardless, apparently they didn't put together a transition team until like way late in the game. Like when he won, that's when they started putting together a transition team. And so Trump didn't really have anybody set up he didn't have appointments pre-planned, pre-picked. He didn't have people who had already collated a list of good options for him. Right. And he didn't have his people helping him do that. So basically, from what this book says, Trump pretty much went to the Republican Party and said, hey, I've got to fill all these positions. And the Republican Party was like, oh, well, here you go. We got all these people. And so Trump didn't really know anything about his picks. He just kind of...
It seems a little short-sighted for somebody who ran on draining the swamp to go to the RNC and say, hey, I need some ideas.
Right. Well, I guess you would... Yeah, it is short-sighted, certainly. I would say that if your objective is to drain the swamp, that you probably don't want to go to the swamp creatures to ask them, hey, who do you think's a good idea? Who do you got who's going to help me get rid of you guys? Right. But I think that it might have just been some naivete on Trump's part. He may have had his understanding of what he could do as the executive, like where the limits of his power were, versus what the appointments that he picked, what kind of power they would have to either forward or undermine his objectives. He may have just, I mean, you don't know how to be president until you've been president. I mean, there's no school that you go to that teaches you how to be president. You don't really even, I mean, you can research it. Sure, I could go research what the president's able to do. But you don't really know what the job is until you're in there. So I think that it was just... Trump wasn't prepared for the job, so he didn't really know what he should be doing. And he had to learn on the job, as all presidents do. And he just wasn't well prepared for it. And it took like most of his presidency for him to get a real understanding of how to pull the correct levers of power in his position. Right. And this administration, clearly, he is totally in control. He is completely... He's not going to the RNC to ask him for anything, okay? I have a feeling he probably hasn't even talked to anybody at the RNC. Well, what's amazing, he probably hasn't even picked up the phone.
He's put his own people in the RNC, which is going to further the swamp draining process. Like this, everything, it's all coming up MAGA. And the thing is, like, I hope that eventually we just change to the MAGA part. What I love about what we're seeing right now is that maybe, and what we're seeing in the media and you know, in general, just the general feeling around the country is that maybe, you know, MAGA can go back to being what it actually is, which is make America great again, instead of a slur towards Trump supporters. You know what I mean? It is. It means make a. He was laughing about it in an interview. It's like, yeah, people are talking about MAGA this, MAGA that. It stands for Make America Great Again.
Yeah. Oh, you MAGA guys. What do you want to do? Make America great again?
MAGAts. You know, you MAGAts. Yeah, we want to make America great. Sorry.
Make America great again types.
Right.
Those Make America Great Again types.
Right. Those ones who want America to be great. Fuck them.
Yeah, I want America to suck. I hope that the Democrats, as a counter to this, come up with their own slogan, Massa, because it would work. So Massa, Make
again.
America shit again.
Okay? Shit again.
But it would work because Massa, you know, that's the Mexican word for like cornmeal, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's perfect. It's like masa, corn, you know, Mexicans, corn. Corn's a big thing. America, corn syrup. We want to put the corn syrup
back in the food.
Your veins. Okay?
Make America unhealthy again.
We're gonna make a vaccine out of corn syrup. Okay. So yeah, I hope they go with that because it's gonna get that Hispanic vote back because it's gonna say masa, and also it's gonna tell you what they want, which is to make America shit again.
Did you see the New York Times fact-checking RFK Jr. about Fruit Loops?
What? No, I did not. Why? Oh, I did. The one where they said, fact check false. Fruit Loops don't have 18 ingredients,
but it does have red dye number 4.
Well, no. The claim was that in Canada it only has 3 ingredients and
they're fruit extracts. And stuff.
Yeah. It's fruit and then loops.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what else is in there besides loops and fruits.
The dyes in it are fruit based, like the berry based or whatever.
Right. So they say fact check false. American Fruit Loops don't have more ingredients than Canadian Fruit Loops. It's just that they have more ingredients than these ones.
Right.
But it's only those. So therefore, fact check false because it's only got those.
They
ones.
have fewer or they have the same amount of ingredients, but you know the Canadian ones are natural based, and ours are red dye number 40 and yellow 5.
Now, the thing about the Canadian Fruit Loops versus the American Fruit Loops is that part of the argument, the reason that there's only 3 ingredients on the box of the Canadian ones, this is kind of, it's not wrong, it's just kind of like, it doesn't clearly articulate the point whenever RFK says a Canadian Fruit Loops only have 3 ingredients and American Fruit Loops have 18. Because Canada's food classification laws are different than ours, so they're not required to break down in such fine detail as we are. So part of the reason that there are more ingredients on ours is not because there are more ingredients in ours, it's because they're required to say with more specificity what
natural flavor means or whatever. Yeah.
Whereas in Canada, they can get away with listing fewer ingredients because they can basically put compound ingredients. Right. So they can say, oh, we have, you know, such and such natural coloring, and that could be a list of 5 or 6 different things.
Yeah.
But they're only required to put like the overarching, like the umbrella term for that thing. Whereas our FDA requirements are much more strict about you have to put that there's milk and butter. Because if you don't put milk, if you don't say that on the butter tin that there's milk, then we have to recall that butter. We have to throw that butter away because somebody might buy it thinking it's milk-free butter.
That's margarine. All right, guys. It was a good 50-minute conversation we had after.
Oh man, next week when we try to figure out who's playing last, it's gonna be such a pain in the ass.
Well, this is just such
later, guys.